Good morning. Happy Tuesday. This is Kitty Boitnott of Boitnott Coaching with your Tuesday morning message that I'm going to admit I know you're probably getting a little bit later than Tuesday morning because I just didn't get the video done in time. So my apologies for being late if you missed your morning message this morning. I hope you did actually, because if you didn't miss it, it means you're not opening my messages and you aren't even aware that you didn't get this message early this morning. But it's still Tuesday and I still have a message for you. I wanted to share with you very quickly, and I've offered a few links in the body of the text message in today's newsletter. I wanted to share with you a little bit about a phenomenal speaker that I heard while I was at the National Speakers Association, the conference that I talked a little bit about in last week's message. Her name is Mel Robbins, and I had never heard of her. She spells her last name the same way as life coach Tony Robbins, but I don't think they're related. If they are, I can't find a connection. But she is a former lawyer and a current life coach, and she is a moderator for CNN, and she's a radio host, and she's getting ready to host some sort of TV show, reality show. But what I was struck by her was the message that she offered in SA, and I gather that this is a sort of a stock message that she carries around with her to various and sundry conferences and conventions. And the message basically is stop screwing yourself over. That's the title of her talk. And she talks about two really key ideas that I want to share with you today. The first is the 5-second rule, and it doesn't have anything to do with food dropping on the floor, and if you grab it up in 5 seconds or less, it's okay for you to go ahead and eat. I think we've all heard that, whether it's a myth or not, I don't know. I guess it depends on what floor you drop your food on and how picky you are about where you will eat your food from if you've dropped it on the floor. But that's not what her 5-second rule is about. Mel Robbins' 5-second rule is about acting on an inspired thought within 5 seconds. And the reason you must do that, according to her, is that if you don't act on an inspired thought within 5 seconds of having the thought, you will inevitably, irrevocably, forever avoid acting on the thought because your brain will automatically provide you with all of the excuses and all of the rationale for why you don't need to try to do it. She says that your brain is hardwired for keeping you safe and in the same situation, and basically to keep you stuck because it feels familiar. When you have an inspired thought, if you actually have the courage to act on it, it might mean you have to step out of your comfort zone. And most of us don't want to do that. So let's say you're in the shower and you have this great idea. Oh gosh, you're just really inspired by this idea. What if you could make that happen? Then you get out of the shower and you forget about it and you move on with your day and you don't think about it again. Or maybe sometimes I'm driving along thinking about nothing and all of a sudden this idea pops into my head. Wow, that's a really good idea, but I'm not in a position to do anything about it while I'm driving. And so by the time I get wherever I'm going, it's past, it's over, done. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night with a really great idea, but I go back to sleep. I don't take action on it because it's the middle of the night. I want to get up. I want to write it down and wake me up even more. So I go back to sleep. Next day, no more inspired thought. So Mel Robbins offers that we need to take some sort of action, whether it's just to write something down or send ourselves a reminder. Do something within 5 seconds, in order to take action on that inspired thought. That will move you toward maybe acting on the thought. And here's the kicker. This is what really got me. She offers in the course of her talk that for each and every one of us who happen to be here on this planet right here at this particular point in time, and that includes you out there, There is a 1 in 400 trillion chance of us being here. From the moment of conception, there are so many forces that are against our mere survival that by the time we've gotten to this particular point in time, we've survived at the rate of 1 in 400 trillion chance. And then she says, if you have an inspired thought today, what if that is the reason you are here? What if that inspired thought is wrapped up in your purpose? Does that not just take your breath away? It takes my breath away to consider that. So I ask you to think about it. I'm offering you the link to her TED Talk. She was in San Francisco for a TED Talk. She talks about some of these concepts. She covers those. She also has written a book about being fine and why we should never say again that we're fine. So take a look at her work. I really, really admired the way she approached her presentation and the message that she brought to our group. And I've been thinking in terms of how might I use that idea about us being here in a 1 in 400 trillion chance. I mean, that's just mind-boggling. And I've also been thinking about what the 5-second rule means. I don't know about you, but I let lots of ideas just sit. It's called procrastination. It's called delaying because we're afraid. It's called convincing ourselves that we don't need to act on that idea because if we've had the idea, surely somebody else has had the idea. Not necessarily. What if that's your reason for being here? Think about that. Let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas. And until next week, have a great, great Tuesday and a great week.